even organizations with built-in local fandom like the Premier League clubs, it's changing so drastically. You can monetize fans not just on local game days, right? It's always on 24/7 content. People are launching their own direct-to-consumer channels. They have their own YouTube subscription channels. Celebrities and athletes are becoming, or athletes are becoming celebrities. Celebrities are becoming team owners. The lines are so blurry. But one of the things that we usually face questions about is, again, what Peter alluded to before, which is the ROI. People think of it more of as a cost center, whereas the conversation needs to be more about what is the downside of you not doing this? Like, what are you losing out on if you don't implement this? I understand that you have to put a line item and a budget in the budget. And we work with organizations from a strategic consultancy standpoint where we want to work with them in identifying their core KPIs and their objectives and then help implement the right solutions and user journeys against that. But it has to come at some cost. It might be small to begin with, and you can have a crawl, walk, run approach. So cost definitely, and what's the ROI is probably the biggest question. It's, the more case studies that we are able to bring to the table now, that conversation becomes much, much easier because there are others that have sort of led the way and shown how it can be done. But then the other thing I would say is probably there's a lot of noise in the market right now, especially in the sports technology space, which I think is a lot of the audience for today's webinar. There's a lot of noise in the market, and it's always been a buyer's market. It's just increasingly becoming more so now, where there's there's always a cheaper point solution around the corner, and so that creates a lot of attrition for the technology companies that are in the space, because you're always fighting against a no-name brand that you're being asked to bid against in a blind bid of sorts. And so how do you actually, as a tech company that's adding value, how do you capture your share of value is definitely one of the key challenges for people on my side of the on my side of the table. Likewise, people on the other side of the table, a lot of times I've heard this, I don't know how to make a choice. There's so many people. A lot of people are saying the same things. Fan engagement is a catch-all. How do you decide who to work with? Obviously, a lot of organizations are now run the RFP, so someone else has already done their due diligence. So you can piggyback off of that. Every organization doesn't need to do the exact same due diligence every single time. You might have different objectives from other partners, but fundamentally, the underlying technologies, the building blocks don't change that much. It's just how you apply. I like to say that like LiveLike is a set of Lego blocks. Whether you build a mosque or a church is up to you. You choose your religion. But at the end of the day, the building blocks stay the same.